All right, so let's talk about the most important story here. That is the size of your pee-pee. I love this story. By the way, is Kanye and Kim Kardashian still married, right?
I thought they were divorced.
No, they're still married.
They were divorced.
That is the weirdest thing. Because she's promoting his stuff. She changed her Instagram meme or whatever you want to call it. What's the little thing? Profile picture to the same thing he has. It's just black. It's just blacked out. She changed that for a while. Then she unfollowed him. Then she followed him back. And then he had something to say about the Pete Davidson episode where she was on and they kissed. And now Pete Davidson and Kim Kardashian are for lack of a better phrase, they're a thing. And they've been seen together and they're dating. And she has mentioned that, I find him really riveting. There's something about him that I really like. And he's really funny and he's very transparent. And so I'm okay with him. He was at, I think, the Knicks game last night with Chris Rock and Ed Sheeran. That was a weird mashup. Ed Sheeran,
I guess he's over
with Chris Rock and Pete Davidson sitting side by side, and Ed looks like he looks like the wart on the thumb.
Yes. He's also the basketball game.
Yeah, and of course he played on Saturday Night Live this past week. So anyway, it's so bizarre because they're still married.
Are you sure?
Yeah, they're still married, and so he's like. And so he came out and said that she said something on Saturday Night Live about, why would I divorce this thing that I'm with right now because he's the wealthiest black man in America. He's super brilliant and blah, 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 blah. And we have kids. And he came out on a post and said, I didn't really appreciate the fact that Saturday Night Live made her say something about our divorce because I have never been served with anything. Now, we know that he may have some bipolar issues. But he's like, I haven't been served with anything. Nothing's changed. We're still a family. This is not good for our kids. Anyway, we'll talk about that. But that's a really weird. Could you imagine being married to somebody?
And that's like gaslighting.
And you're still married.
Well,
you're probably working some things out. They both have a lot of different projects that they're working on.
There's got to be prenups all over the place.
And then you find out that your wife's going out with some Saturday Night Live thing.
I don't know that that's 100% like true. I'm not saying you're lying.
But she seems to be fully supporting him.
I know, but we need the most up-to-date research to know if they're married or not.
They are. I just pulled it up this morning.
They are married. Then why is she with Pete Davidson?
I don't. That's what I'm saying. They are still married. They are still. Listen, that divorce is going to take a long time.
Yeah. Oh, well, now that's different. Are they separate? But they're separated.
They're legally married. Married is married.
No,
okay.
married is not
no,
married.
Yes, it is.
No,
if you're married, you're legally married.
Yes,
you can be separated.
Yeah, you can be separated.
Fine, but you're married.
I've seen couples who are separated.
They are legally married.
Now, I get that, but I have seen couples who have been married, never divorced, separated for decades, with other people, but are together in law for business purposes.
Yeah, 2 or 3 years later, maybe. But not 3 months after it falls apart.
Well, it didn't fall apart in 3 months.
And you're talking about Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, that's that. I mean,
of course, Kanye hasn't really. I mean, he's been banging boots too. I doubt that he's not practicing.
Well, they didn't ask him about that.
All right, so this doctor, Dr. Anthony Yon, revealed the connection about facial features and the size of little Anthony and the Imperials.
Nose.
He says that facial features might be, people with small facial features might be feeling self-conscious, he said. The plastic surgeon of the U.S. told his followers that there's a significant correlation between the two measurements, one of your nose and of the junk. He said he cited a study published in Basic and Clinical Andrology that found that those with larger noses have an average length of at least an inch longer than people with smaller noses. Yes!
That's crazy.
Yes!
Good. Thank God, because our noses have been... Yeah,
thank goodness this did something good, right?
That's on average, right?
Average of people that have large noses, 5.3, or in other worlds, 13.5 centimeters, which I think sounds a lot better. With people with shorter noses, about 4.1. I'm sorry, man.
Well, it's interesting.
Small nose.
I want to define short. I wonder if it's how strong the correlation is. Yeah. Like, is it every centimeter of your nose equals a centimeter of your...
I don't think they broke that down, but I will tell you this, that people with smaller facial features are usually smaller people.
See, I have small facial features.
And when you're a smaller person, a smaller face.
Everything's smaller.
Like you don't see like a 6'5" guy with a really small head.
Okay. Look how small.
So I do think it directly correlates with the size of your body in some instances, although this study kind of flies in the face of all that. The study also concludes that penis length may not be determined by age, weight, or body weight, or height or weight, but actually before birth. Dr. Yaron has a bit of fun with this scientific fact, claiming it would mean Marvel's the Hulk would have a tiny wee-wee, whereas Butthead from the comedy television show Beavis and Butthead would be well endowed.
Yes, because Hulk's got a tiny head relative to his body.
Well, he's got
and a small nose.
Big head. Just because you're big doesn't mean it's going to be big, and it's because you're tiny doesn't mean it's going to be tiny.
I'm so confused. I have a small head, so help me. I have a tiny head.
Your head's not that tiny.
No, my head's super small.
But you got a big nose.
I have a big nose.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
Well, you tell me. Is it true? Because I'm telling you right now, it's true for me. I've got a big head and a big nose, and there's no doubt.
But I also have small hands.
Of course, the bigger this.
But you also have big hands. See, you're just large.
Yes, I am.
Or long.
The popular post has been viewed 7.2 million times, racking up 723,000 likes.
Well. And other things.
Many of his followers agree with the findings. With some saying that from now on, they'd be paying more attention to men's noses, that coming from the majority of women.
That's good.
He also said there's another way you could tell.
Okay.
Dr. Karen Rajan referred to a study which claims that you can measure the size of a man's junk by how short his index finger is.
Yeah, I've heard about that too. See, look how small.
Well, again,
but my nose is big, so can I just? I mean, I don't understand.
That probably averages out a little bit.
Yeah,
a shorter index finger compared to the ring finger.
Oh, okay.
Correlates to a bigger schnozzwaggler.
Oh,
this is known as
fine. But everybody's finger.
I'm sure there's outliers. So
good.
This is known as the second to fourth digit ratio, calculated by dividing the length of the index finger by the length of the ring finger.
Okay.
It's called the 2D40 ratio. The smaller digit ratio points to high exposure to testosterone in the uterus can cause.
So you want to see something interesting that's bad for radio. But if you notice on mine, you can see the difference there. Okay, this is my right hand.
Yeah.
My left hand, there's greater distance. Do you see that? My left index finger is much more short.
And the left one's bigger than the right one, so your ratio is probably a little heavier there. That's why you walk.
That's why I'm going to use this one.
It's probably why you walk a little to the left.
That is probably true. I also have broken this finger a lot of times.
I think you close your eyes, you'd walk in circles. Speaking of the Hulk, didn't you live next to Lou Ferrigno?
No.
I thought you did. Didn't you have something to do with Lou Ferrigno? Didn't you say some story about you and Lou Ferrigno, the Hulk?
No.
Or was it Bill Bixby?
Neither.
Oh.
I did watch a Marvel Comics movie on the way home.
I thought you live right now. Did your mom live next to him, or your dad live next to him?
No, Sylvester Stallone.
Oh, that's right.
My dad and Sylvester had My dad and Sylvester had sailboats next to each other. And Sylvester was, I know.
God, you make me sick.
I know, a marina.
My dad had a sailboat next to.
No, but my dad's boat was small. Sylvester's was a.
Maybe he had a small. Maybe he had a small nose.
Sylvester Stallone's sailboat was done like a pirate ship.
Yeah,
it was done. And I remember because my dad pointed out we were on the boat. My dad said, "Here comes Sylvester Stallone. Rambo's coming down, or Rocky at the time's coming down." And everybody knows this. He's short.
Yeah.
Like super short, like 5'6" short.
Yeah.
And he looked tiny. I mean, just tiny. I could not believe that was him. And then he took his shirt off, and
I think a lot of it correlates that size there with obviously the size of your body, because the bigger you are, you think the longer things would grow.
Yeah.
Taller people have longer arms, they have longer legs. Their hands are usually a little bigger because we're taller. And so, in order to have that ratio of if you're 5'1" and you put that on a 6'5" guy, it wouldn't look nearly as big. And I think that's why it's important that big, tall people need to keep their weight down. I always say, man, if you can't see it in the morning when you're peeing, you need to lose some weight.
Yeah.
That's what I tell my 17-year-old son.
I mean, if you can't see it at all when you're peeing,
yeah, even early in the morning, you should be able to see the tip of it. If you can't see the tip of it, you need to lose some weight.
Yes.
And that's only gonna, and that's another reason why Pamela Anderson loves some Tommy Lee, because he had a 23-inch waist. Jeez.
Yeah, that's not.
The dude's waist was like this big. I mean, how could it?
Because he's emaciated from all the drugs.
Yeah, although he's healthy now.
Yeah.
Speaking of Lou Ferrigno, he turned 70 today.
Is he really?
The Hulk is 70 years old. He still looks pretty good for 70.
The Hulk or Lou Ferrigno?
One and the same, right?
Yeah. I used to love me some Hulk.
Speaking of noses, and I thought this was interesting, I go through these birthdays, and sometimes there's
Jimmy Durante would have been like, what, 400?
No, but a woman named Big Nose Kate. Her name was Big Nose Kate.
Porn star?
Did you know?
No,
Her name was Mary Catherine Horane. She was born in 1849. She was born a Hungarian United States prostitute. That's what it says on her Wikipedia page. She was born a prostitute. I'm like, how would you like to go through life? What do you do? How are you? I'm a Hungarian prostitute. She is known as the common law wife of Doc Holliday. And her birthday today, she would have, I don't know how old she'd be. But
I'm Hungarian.
But I thought it was interesting because we were talking about big noses, and then this woman named Big Nose Kate.
That's terrible.
And she had you want to talk about.
She had a schnoz.
Well, she had a schnoz. I don't know what that says about that, but if she was the common law wife of Doc Holliday, maybe she had something else going on down there. Just saying.
Let's take some air in through our giant noses.